Hello and welcome to the Curious AF podcast. I'm your host, Luke, and I'm coming at you with another solo episode. And today I wanted to talk about where I'm currently at, and where that is complete burnout. So I had a panic attack a week and a half ago, and I kind of wanted to dive into how I got here, right? I had a string of panic attacks in the early stages of my business as it was first growing. And that led to a bunch of really dark places. I had one for the first time in 5-6 years, a week and a half. And I wanted to speak about how I got here and what that means and just riff on it for a while. So I recently was watching a YouTube show or video. There was an entrepreneur talking about how he lost $1.5 million in a deal. And he was, he got really vulnerable about it, and he spoke about crying to his wife in the middle of the night, about how he lost all their money and kind of the real personal aspect of when shit goes wrong. And I really got a lot of value out of it. I got a lot more value out of that than all of the fluffy bullshit that you usually see about success and business and all of that kind of stuff. So here's my attempt of doing something along those lines. So, and even as I speak right now, I can, and I've probably said this on the last few podcast episodes, I can hear it in my voice that I'm burnt out, right? I've got a croaky voice. I feel sick. My eyes feel heavy. I got a tense neck. I'm really not in a good place. I'm in a better place than I was a couple of weeks ago, but I'm really not in a good place. So the panic attack, I guess I'll talk about leading up to it. So it's funny, like about a month out, I started having conversations with people. I'm feeling burnt out. I have too much on my plate. And I think what happened there is like, I already had a lot going on. I was at capacity in my life. I run a business. I'm fairly into fitness. I have 3 kids. I'm on the board of the Entrepreneurs Organisation Adelaide. I pulled off. I'll talk about that. I'm also part of a forum in the Entrepreneurs Organisation. I go to a lot of learning events. I am part of something called the Intentional Leaders Network. I'm on the board of the Pump Industries Australia. I'm doing a lot. And then what happened is my daughter got diagnosed with diabetes, type 1. And that really took an emotional toll on myself and my wife. And I took on a few projects in the business that I really shouldn't have. That also with the business ramping up, a few issues with staff, all of that kind of stuff. So the business started taking more time. The personal aspect of the emotional toll of my and all, emotional and logistical toll of my daughter's diabetes diagnosis, a few other health concerns in the family, stuff like that. I just think I started operating at over capacity, right? And that started. And I couldn't see a way to stop, right? Like I could feel myself heading towards a cliff, and I couldn't slow down. I couldn't get off the bus, right? I started having conversations with people about how I'm feeling burnt out. That was about a month out. And a couple of weeks out, I've had this conversation with 10 different people. My eyes hurt, my neck hurts. I'm struggling to get out of bed at the moment. I'm extremely driven, so I'm still going through the motions. Nothing's slowing down, but like I'm just physically exhausted, anxious, operating on fumes, but nothing changes, right? Like there's nothing. Like I'm having these conversations, and something should have triggered that in me. Hey, you need to slow down, but nothing did, because I think I have this internal need to look like I've got my shit together and not let anybody down, right? Also my role on the board was ramping up as far as the Entrepreneurs Organisation. I was running through a few initiatives around trying to build connection within the community, and also, we're taking on new members. That adds a lot of load on me. yeah, and I just have this narrative inside my head, like you can push through it, like you're a machine, you can do this. This is who you are, rah rah rah, and just ignoring the signs of burnout slapping me in the face, right? And like I know better. I speak about balance on this podcast. I speak about it all the time. I speak about wanting to be happy, not successful, right? Like that's important to me. The other thing that was happening was like I was letting people down, which is a huge red flag. Like one of my values is if you're going to do something, do it well. And I was doing 10 things and I was doing none of them well. And people are, I was asked to speak at this event and I was going to speak at this event. And like they're asking me questions and I'm not getting back to them for 3, 4, 5 days, right? And I'm telling them like I'm burnt out, like I can't get back to you, I'm in crisis, my business is in crisis, all of this stuff, which was red flag, right? It's like once you're at that point, something needs to change. But for me, I literally, I reckon if you talked to me back then, I could tell you I'm driving towards a cliff, but I can't stop because I don't know how to, I can't let people down because then I feel like I will look weak, will not look like I have enough, will not have it together, all of this kind of stuff, right? So all of this kind of came to a climax. And I started the meeting by speaking about how I'm burnt out. And as I'm speaking about it, it's all kind of clicking to me that I'm talking about the physical sensations, about what's going on in my body. I'm talking about how I feel. I'm talking about the conversations I've had over the last few weeks. I'm talking about white knuckling it, as in just like really struggling to push through. But because of my personality, and this isn't a brag, I almost feel like this is a negative. I will just keep fucking going, no matter how you're exhausted, right? Like you see those things on Instagram, like the motivational drivers, like no one's coming to save you, big dog, like all of that kind of motivation. That's like dangerous to me, right? It's because I will work myself into oblivion, and I won't be happy. I won't be the father or husband I want to be. I'm not making good decisions at work. I'm losing my shit. I'm damaging relationships. Like all of these things are happening, and I just keep driving towards this cliff. Like I heard somebody say this recently, like there's a certain type of personality that doesn't need that motivational speech. They need a different type of, they need like somebody slapping them in the face and going, it's time to sit on the couch, you idiot. You're about to friggin' burn out, right? And that's exactly where I was at. So, okay, let's go to the panic attack itself. So I'm sitting in a meeting, I'm describing that kind of stuff. It's all coming to me. It's all kind of, I'm realizing it in real time. It's somebody else's turn to speak. They start speaking. They're speaking for about 5 minutes. And as they're starting, my heart rate is ramping and ramping. And I know this feeling because I've had it in the past. But I'm like, I'm having a panic attack. So my heart's beating out of his chest. There's like 7 people in the room. I start grabbing my chest and I'm like trying to curl back so people don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden I realize like I'm looking at this person speaking and I can't hear a word that they're saying. I'm completely like I'm not able to focus on the world around me. My heart is beating out of my chest. My skin starts tingling. My vision starts going in. I'm going, shit, I'm actually going to collapse here, right? And like I said, I knew it was a heart attack, and I know that people go to hospital all the time, and they think they're having a heart attack, and and then that makes it worse. But I was aware that it was a panic attack because it's happened before. So like I feel my vision start going in. I feel like I'm actually going to black out. And I start realizing at some point this person's going to stop speaking, and like I got to get the fuck out of here. But I don't know how to do that. I can't talk. I can't move. And then all of a sudden, this person wraps up talking. He's kind of looking at me, and I feel like I'm expected to speak. And I just kind of like mumble something, fumble for my keys, grab my keys, walk out of the room. Very weird and awkward, but I'm in it. Go to my car. Get in my car, lock my car, put my seat back, and just start like breathing and start panicking, right? And like roll, like just crawl. I basically crawl up into the fetal position, and just my panic attack takes over. Like huge adrenaline dump. I start kind of getting this rash, like really, really uncomfortable. It's like don't know if you had that feeling where like you almost get into a car crash. It's like that, but like times 10, and it goes for a long period of time. Yeah, and then I think I'm sitting in the car like unable to move for about half an hour. Then I kind of come out of it and just go, okay, fuck, okay, okay, this has happened. And then I'm just starting to take note of my life. Like, okay, like you're gonna have to, I don't know, your body has given up on you, right? And I start feeling stupid because I've seen this coming and I've done nothing about it. And I'm thinking what this means for my life and how everything's going to change and this deep level of panic. I go for a walk, try to calm my nervous system down, do some breathing, stuff like that. There was a girl that was in the meeting, a friend of mine, and she messaged. I messaged to the group just straight out, like, because there was no explanation. I had to say, like, I just had a panic attack, right? And a friend of mine was kind enough to offer to bring my stuff out because I don't think I couldn't have gone back into the room. My nervous system was just really kind of shot at that point. So she brought my bag out. I drove home. I really shouldn't have been driving. I felt really fucked up. But like I was about an hour away from home, and like, what else do I do? Do I just sit there till nightfall? I'm not getting a taxi home. My car's too far away. I think it was about an hour or 20 minutes away from home. I mean, so what is a panic attack, or I guess what is burnout in general? Because at that point, I'm putting all the signs together and just going, okay, something has to change. Like you need to take stock of your life because this is going completely out of control. So burnout is a misalignment between output and restoration. I think like it's not that simple. Like it's like I guess maybe not output, maybe I don't know what your nervous system can handle, right? Like like there's the emotional toll of what's going on with my daughter. There's the physical toll and the emotional, well, the stress response from projects going badly. Like I got really badly screwed over by external suppliers, and I was at risk of losing some very large clients. I wasn't sleeping, just all of these things, right? And there's this myth out there of like high performance. It's just like go, 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 go. But I actually think that's like I wasn't performing well. I was letting people down. I was making bad decisions. I was flying off the handle when I probably shouldn't have been. I wasn't emotionally available for my family. I was, I would come home and like it's hard to like I have a rule where I try to connect with everybody in my family every day. And it's really hard to do when you come home and you're that stressed out that that your nervous system is jacked up, and your kids are trying to talk to you and you're like trying to calm yourself down. And this was happening on a regular basis leading up to it, right? And again, I was heading towards a cliff, but I couldn't get off because I don't want to let anybody down because then I feel weak and then I don't have anything together. And it comes down to this like not being good enough, right? So the next day, I wake up and like it's been a week and a half, and like the whole time that week and a half, it's gone up and down, but the whole time my nervous system has been spiked. Like I feel like I've got a level of adrenaline all the time. Like I've got that feeling of almost getting into a car crash. I've literally been sitting in that state for a week and a half, very short-tempered. Let's talk about like the inner dialogue. So I think the inner dialogue leading up to this burnout was like, I don't know, I have to push through, right? I can't stop anything because people are counting on me and I should be able to handle this. Like you're meant to be this successful guy. You've signed up for these things. You need to execute on them, right? But the person who signed up on them didn't have these issues in his business, didn't have this, this personal issue at home with illness in the family and the emotional toll and stress around that. But like my inner dialogue was going, no, you can't let anybody down. You can't be that person, right? At the cost of my own well-being, happiness, I'm not having fun anymore. I'm not enjoying anything I'm doing. I'm not who I want to be, right? So why couldn't I stop beforehand? I think it's the inner dialogue. It's the not being good enough. It's the not being worthy. It's all of that stuff that I say that I've solved, but I haven't. It's just popping up in different ways. But the panic attack was the biggest trigger for me because like I said, I had one of those in the early stages of the business, and that led, and I didn't slow down, and that just led to that they just kept happening to the point where I couldn't function, right? I couldn't operate, right? So I'm like, this is my body telling me that something needs to change. It is not an option anymore, right? And I can choose not to change anything, but you're just going to keep having panic attacks. So I pulled out of the board the next day, tears streaming down my face as I was writing the message, just being very honest to people about where I'm at. Embarrassed, shame, which I'm trying to, like in the past, I've had a deep shame about not being able to keep everything together and feeling weak and again, not good enough, right? So I'm really trying to not let the shame in. Yeah, so I think the panic attack is I got to see it as a positive, it's a sign that I need to fix my life, right? I need to stop. And I haven't done enough. I pulled out of the board, but it's not enough. This is a very first world problem, but I'm doing 10 things that when I'm happy that I really love. I'm not loving any of them now because I'm absolutely cooked and burnt out. But like I can still, there's a couple of more things that I need to pull out of, and I'm really struggling. And as I'm doing this and as I'm speaking, I'm realizing that I haven't done enough. Yeah, I don't know. It's also the fear of slowing down. So there's an inherent feeling that I would lose everything I built, which is just not true, right? And like I always talk about, I think, and not all entrepreneurs are like this, but there needs to be a point where you've reached a certain level of success that you can actually start enjoying your success. And I thought I had reached that, but it sneaks back in. And I'm getting to the point now where I realize that this is potentially just a cycle for me. I'm driven in a way where I've got to be extremely careful because left to my own devices, I will just work myself into oblivion. And I will just say yes and yes and yes and yes and yes until I am absolutely cooked and miserable. And it's like, what's the point of any of this? What's the point of any of this success if I'm not happy? I've talked to other entrepreneurs and the conversation's gone in a way where we've got to the point where it's like, they are willing to sacrifice their happiness for success almost to the end of time. I'm like, why? What do you want out of life? You just want endless amounts of success. That is that's without a doubt your ego out of control, right? Like you're just giving in to that little kid that thinks he's not good enough. And now you're trying to spin that as a positive because you're getting more and more and more and more and more done. But what is enough, right? Like you need a $2 million house, you need a $5 million house, you need a $20 million house. And some people get there and they're not happy. I've got more than I ever thought that I would possibly have. All right. And I still just have this drive for more that sneaks in and takes over. Right, and this is the thing, like my meditation practice was slipping. All the things that I love, my sleep's slipping. Like the irony is you start, the negative aspects of your life start spiraling. And I'm just so thankful that I'm not drinking anymore because without a doubt, that would have started spiraling as well. Yeah, so I mean, it's really forcing me to inspect, I don't know, my life, my systems, my boundaries, my emotional honesty, being honest with people about what I do and don't want to do. And I'm actually, like, as I'm speaking, I'm realizing I need to pull out of something else, which is going to be another really difficult thing for me to do. But like, what are my values? My values are family, like good husband and father, do things well. All of these things, like I've got my values right here, right? Yourself, mind and body, like that. I'm not doing that. I'm 100% not doing that. Because my need for success is stepping on my values, which I've said that this is how I want to live. I was just realizing in real time that I haven't done enough, and I need to do more. Like, I've let my need to say yes and my need for external validation get in the way of the life I want to live and be the man and the husband and the father that I want to be. And I know this stuff's hard because it's not as simple as like you're drinking too much, right? It's you can very easily tell yourself a story that all of this success is for your family. But I think it's bullshit, right? Like, we have enough. They don't need a nicer house. They need to spend more quality time with their father, who's not an emotional mess because he's absolutely burnt out to the core and can barely function, right? And that's where I am. I can barely function. I'm making bad decisions. I'm flying off the handle. I can't talk. I don't have the energy to do stuff with them that I want to be doing with them, right? I want to wake up with energy and go for a bike ride with my kids. That's extremely difficult when you're burnt out to the core. And then you're telling yourself a story that you are doing this because you want to provide more for your family. But how is that providing, right? Providing just doesn't mean financially. We have enough money. It's my own need for external validation. It's not the best for my family, me working until I'm absolutely cooked and burnt out. And, I'm 2 weeks out from the panic attack, and I can feel it in my voice. I'm burnt out. I can't, I'm struggling to get out of bed, but I'm someone that just keeps going through the motions, and I'm potentially just going to have another panic attack, right? And pulling off the board was good, but it's not enough. Okay, so what's changed? My good friend Mike Scott, who's an absolute weapon of a bloke, awesome podcast. His big things is self-care is for the people around you. So what am I doing? I've pulled out of the board. To be honest, I went and did a couple of 12-hour days straight after because I need to get this project done, but they're done. I need to start working less and stop obsessing over. I need to pull out of more things. I need to give my nervous system a break. I need to really get back to my core of meditation, fitness, training, just mindfulness, all of that kind of stuff, which tends to be the first thing to go, which is probably the thing that needs to stay the most. Yeah, a friend of mine bought me a massage and float tank experience, which was good. But I need a reset. And my need for validation and not letting people down is not allowing me to do that. How do I define success? It's having balance between my role as a father and a husband, my fitness, my well-being and spirituality, meditation, all the inner peace, the psychedelics, all of that kind of stuff. And then work. It's having balance between those four things. And work takes over and destroys the other three. And I'm not happy, but my internal dialogue forces me to do it right. And it's a cycle behind, and this is a reset. So I'm actually extremely thankful that this happened, because this is going to cause me to reset and try to really focus on all those other aspects. Again, it's just so hard, So look, I need to pull out of more. I'm gonna write that down and action that as soon as I get off this podcast. I'm pulling out of more. I'm gonna basically strip everything back and then add things as needed. I need 3 months of giving my nervous system a break. I need to do very little, and I need to stop obsessing over business growth. And I need to speak about it, right? I think talking about it is extremely important, because you can figure this stuff out. You can figure out the triggers. So I just don't continuously go into this cycle. I don't know, my relationship with myself, and I know this is really hard to talk about, but it's like, it's just, I just find it so ironic that I'm here again after I talk so much about it being here in the past. and needing to build that relationship with yourself and listen to your body and all this kind of stuff. But it's just like, I don't know, I'm trying not to feel shame, but it's embarrassing and humbling that I'm here again. Yeah, I think I covered everything I want to cover. I hope this is helpful in some ways to someone going through something, or at least entertaining in some ways. I got a lot of positive feedback from my last solo episode. So if you liked it, please reach out and let me know if you made it this far, if anybody made it this far. The ramblings of a madman. Look, I love you all. I really appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. Bye.